Well, good morning, everyone. Am I audible to everyone? Hello? You can actually show a thumbs up so that I can get to know whether I'm audible or not.
Yes, Akansha, you're audible.
Sure. So, without wasting any time, let's begin. First of all, good morning, everyone, and welcome you all for today's session, the Global Emotional Agility Network, also known as GEAN. So, before actually diving down into today's session, let me introduce GEAN for a while. The GEAN focuses on creating emotional awareness, informed spaces where people can better understand themselves, their emotions, and their relationship. So, our goal is not to just talk about mental health in theory, but also make emotional awareness practical, relatable, and applicable to everyday life. I need to ask one thing. Is my camera on? I think it's not. Let me just.
Akansha, please switch on your camera.
Yes. I think now, am I visible, everyone?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Yes. Sure. So now, since we are focusing on emotional agility, expressing our emotion, if we talk about today's life, that is paradox of life today. Next slide. We live in a world where we are most connected than ever before, constantly texting, calling, sharing, communicating. And yet, many people feel emotionally disconnected, misunderstood, and alone. That's in short term, we can call the paradox of our time. Despite of having the excess of 24/7, anxiety in relationship and in every aspect has increased like anything before. A delayed text, a small change in tone, or emotional distance can sometimes trigger fear, overthinking, and insecurities. And often, the real struggle is not just about relationship; it's about every single aspect, right? And keeping all of these things in mind, so today, Global Emotional Agility Network bring a topic that is connected to every one of us, right? So before we introduce, I will be introducing the topic. Let me introduce our trainer today. So our trainer today is Miss Rabeea Saba Kausar. She is a corporate trainer, certified corporate trainer, soft skill trainer, and consultant with over a decade of experience in training, delivery, curriculum design, and facilitation. She has worked extensively across corporate, education, development sectors, designing and learning impactful learning experience on communication, leadership, emotional intelligence, professional development, you name it, and she has done it all. So Rabia ma'am has trained over 1,000 participants, including corporates, professionals, educators, students, and has collaborated with organizations such as NCERT and UNESCO to deliver large-scale training program known and specifically known for her engaging and experiencing facilitation style. So today's session will help us to explore about certain things that we all feel now and then. That is relationship anxiety that actually shows up in real life. Relationship, it doesn't just mean about one relationship, it actually covers every single thing: parent child relationship, teachers and student, every single thing. And anxiety is actually being shown up every single form, right? So we will be talking about that in detail. So yes, let's connect with you, ma'am. And before we actually start, I would request actually everyone to, have your notebook or pens ready, because there will be certain things that you would need to write down and think through, and you will be taking certain notes back. So make it more impactful, make it more something like that you are taking certain things back and apply the same thing whatever you learned in today's session in your daily life. Over to you, Miss Rabia ma'am.
Thank you so much, Akanksha, for the lovely introduction. And I welcome all of you, as Akanksha has already welcomed you. And yes, we welcome you all on this Saturday morning. where we are sure that you might be having a lot on your mind, and in the coming days, since it's a weekend. But yes, we really appreciate you joining us, and hopefully mutually we will be able to contribute to this session. So I will start with sharing my screen. If you would just give me a second. All right. Okay, Akanksha, is it all right? Is the screen showing correctly?
Yes, ma'am. It's visible. You are clearly audible. Everything
All
is fine.
All right. Thank you so much. So, my dear participants, again, thank you for joining us. And let me start by, whenever we hear about anxiety and how anxiety shows up in relationship, a lot of us immediately think about romantic relationships. The romantic relationship angle comes in the forefront all of a sudden. But let me also tell you, as Akanksha conveyed us in the introduction, that anxiety shows up in many forms of connection. It shows up in friendships, family dynamics, marriages, workplace relationships, parent child relationships, and also long distance connections, and specifically in the digital relationships today, since we are living in such a digital era. So a lot of anxiety stems up from there also. We chose this topic because it is a pertinent issue, and also sometimes anxiety may look loud, but also sometimes it may take the form of complete silence, and it might show up in the form of overthinking, checking your phone repeatedly, needing reassurance, withdrawing emotionally. So that is why we chose this topic, so that we can cover all the relationships in these 45 minutes and give you an overview of how we can understand this concept called anxiety and how it shows up in our relationships. Now, first, let us just understand what are the objectives that we would be taking from today's session. First of all, today's session is not about diagnosing anyone, and we are not even diagnosing ourselves whether we have anxiety or not. Secondly, we are not talking about anxiety disorder. Some kind of anxiety is absolutely normal in our relationships, but we will understand when this becomes an issue or a concern, and we need to take certain action to resolve it. So we will be understanding relationship anxiety, why anxiety shows up in human connection, what patterns we unconsciously repeat, and the most important part is how can we respond differently. So this session would be including one or two self-reflection activities, some practical coping strategies, and the last 10 minutes we will be dedicating to the question answer round and takeaways from your side. So by the end of this webinar, I want you to leave with more awareness of ourselves and some practical tools that we can actually use. All right. I want to start with an activity. Like Akanksha said, please grab your paper and pencil. And before that, okay, not the paper and pencil right now, but right now I want you to just close your eyes, or maybe just soften your gaze, and think of a recent interaction that left you feeling uneasy, or a message that is constantly playing in your head, a message that you overanalyzed, any moment where you felt insecure. Please give yourself that time, just 20 seconds of that time, where you felt insecure. And please hold that moment. All right. Thank you for doing that. Now, I want you to concentrate maybe on that moment that you just thought of right now, or maybe right now when you were thinking about that moment, anything, any physical change that you noticed in yourself, maybe something happening in your chest, maybe a little bit of tightness or your throat, or some kind of uneasy feeling in your stomach or heavy breathing. And you don't have to judge yourself for it, please. This is something that we all feel. And as you can see on the screen also, there are 3 or 4 physical signs that are written. Maybe out of these 3 or anything that you felt right now. Okay, I want you to write in the chat boxes any kind of physical sign that you noticed in yourself. Or you can unmute yourself and just share it. Headache, okay, all right. So this headache, if I may ask you, one, that is tightness in chest or throat. Tightness in chest, okay. Clenching of fist, all right. Okay, so please hold this rapid heartbeat, okay. All right, thank you for your responses. Now I want clenching of fists, especially fingers, and irritation when my nails are big. All right, all right. Okay, so these are some very important and visible physical signs that we can witness when we are feeling anxious or when we are thinking about something that made us insecure. Fast breathing. All right, so fast breathing, clenching of fist, rapid heartbeat, tightness in chest. All right, thank you so much. Please keep this with yourself, and I will come back to this later because this is an important activity that you did right now. And thank you for being honest as well. Along with this, I would just like to add, in a culture like ours, a lot of us are taught to suppress emotions when we are growing up. But suppressed emotions don't disappear, they usually appear in the body, which we will be talking about later. So hold on to this thought and to this activity as well. So let us understand what is relationship anxiety. And see, this kind of an anxiety is rooted in attachment theory, which was given by a psychologist, a British psychologist, Bowlby. And he said, it's just to tell it in simple terms, that humans are wired for proximity and connection. When connection feels threatened, the nervous system responds not because something is wrong, but because our nervous system is designed that way. So, relationship anxiety is essentially the fear of losing connection, uh, rejection, or not being enough. And of course, also about being emotionally unsafe. Now, it can happen, as I said before, it is not necessary that relationship, that anxiety surfaces up in romantic relationship. It can also appear in friendships, dating situations between a parent and child, emotional attachments with other people. I might give you some examples. When a friend suddenly becomes distant, we might feel anxious. When a child stops sharing things with their parents, when a spouse becomes emotionally available, and also when workship communication changes. All these situations can lead to feeling disconnected or rejected, or it can lead us to think that, okay, we are not enough, or we are not good enough to be considered by the other person. Now, most importantly, it does not mean that something is wrong with me. It's something is wrong with me. It does not mean that. Again, all of us feel anxious, and it is completely normal. Certain type of anxiety is completely normal. But if it starts changing into patterns, and this is what we start doing, then it becomes an issue. Now, this kind of anxiety also intensifies because of social media. I would like to, since we have a diverse audience here, I would also like to pinpoint this particular thing that again, we are living in a digital era, and we really get anxious if someone did not see a story, or if someone saw a story but did not reply. My partner is active online, but he is not responding or she is not responding. I will overanalyze a message because I feel that my friend replied in a very cold and dry manner. So now what happens? These kind of situations lead our brain to be anxious because it interprets uncertainty as danger. I hope we are clear about what is relationship anxiety. If it is okay, please give me a thumbs up so I can move forward. All right. Thank you. Now let us understand, once we have understood what is relationship anxiety, let us understand why it happens, because a certain kind of reasoning has to be given so we can be aware of ourselves, we can understand if it is happening with us or not. Now, human beings, again, I will tell you that human beings are wired for connection. They are biologically wired for connection. If there's no connection, we feel disconnected. We do not feel satisfied. And the attachment theory also says that physical proximity is also a very important component in the attachment behavior. Since the beginning, we are wired to be physically close to our caregivers. So if we lack that physical proximity, even then anxiety arises. Now, why it happens? See, if when we were growing up, if love from our caregivers felt unpredictable, now this is something that right now we might not be able to delve in, but I will just give you an overview so that you understand. So while growing up, love from our caregiver felt unpredictable, our emotions were dismissed, the emotions were not given importance, affection was not consistent, and even healthy conflicts were not encouraged. So the nervous system learns that I must stay alert to avoid emotional pain. I will not get into it. I must stay alert. This is what our nervous system gets this signal. Now, again, I would like to give you a cultural context. In many of Indian households or in our culture, emotions are not openly discussed. Most of the time, children are told to adjust. So, and also we are not allowed, or we are not encouraged to show emotion. So stop crying. What is there to cry? Why do you take things so seriously? Just let it be. If an elder person has said something to you, just leave it. You have to stay quiet. So what happens? Many adults, because of these experiences, they are not able to communicate their emotional needs directly. They struggle to do that. That is why these kind of anxiety issues happen in relationships when these kind of children grow up into adults. Because again, the brain is trying to protect you. It is perceiving this uncertainty and disconnection as a danger, as a threat. I would like to give you an example of a parent-child relationship. Now, again, both the parents are working. So there is little scope, or there is limited scope for that physical connection and emotional connection between a parent and a child. Because when both the parents are coming back late from the work, and that kind of emotional connection is not happening, it might lead to some emotional distance between both of them, which can reflect or which can manifest in certain other ways in that child. Again, the hustle culture that we are following today, that also contributes to this kind of anxiety, because people are physically present but emotionally unavailable. So this is a brief of why this kind of anxiety happens or shows up in a relationship. Now let us come to the most important part, which says that how anxiety shows up in real life or in these situations. So again, we are living, actually in a lot of modern day relationships. A lot of context has changed, be it friendships, be it relationships, romantic relationships, be it a parent-child relationship. There is a lot of social media usage, a lot of dating apps that have stemmed up. and a lot of options available for all the partners. Both partners are working. Mobile phone is like a body part. We are not able to keep away from ourselves from it. And there are also long distance relationships. Now, first we have understood what is relationship anxiety, then we have understood why it happens, and now how anxiety shows up. What are these signs, what are the behavior that we do when this anxiety manifests itself in relationship? So some of them are, overthinking replies. If we message something to our partner or anybody else, and the kind of reply we receive, a lot of us tend to overthink. Why did they use only one word? Why did they use this emoji? Or what does this emoji possibly mean? What is the kind of mood they are having? Did I say something wrong? So this is like overthinking constantly one reply that we have received from that person. We are seeking constant reassurance. The Even the color of the emoji is absolutely right. So if the emoji is green, what can it mean? If it is a pink heart, what it means? If it is a white heart, oh, is that person interested in me or not? There is a lot of things going on in just one emoji, and a lot of things are going on in our brain also. Now, another behavior, that is constant reassurance. We are seeking constant reassurance. So we might be asking our partners, are we? So okay, one thing I want to clear here: when I'm saying we, it doesn't mean that you and me. It is a general term that I use. Okay, so it doesn't imply that you are anxious or I am anxious. It is just a way of talking. Okay, thank you. So this constant reassurance means we are consistently asking, are we okay? Is this relationship okay? Are you upset? Anything that the partner does or anyone else does, do you still care? So there's a lot of fear of abandonment, and there's a lot of constant reassurance. Why do we need constant reassurance? When we fear that we are going to lose this connection, or maybe that person is not interested in me anymore, or maybe I sense some distancing from the other person, maybe from my child. He's a growing teenager, so he might not be sharing everything with me, so I might feel, okay, what is it? Why is he becoming so distant? That anxiety might show up in different forms. All right. Now, there's a lot of fear of abandonment also, and which is extremely common in long distance relationships. Long distance relationships is not something that we are experiencing today. It has been a concept since time immemorial. Mostly, a lot of husbands used to work in another countries, and there were days when there was no communication because there was no mobile phone, no emails, maybe a letter, a telegram for emergencies, and months used to go by when people did not exchange letters. But even then, people were calm. The relationship was okay. But in today's time, what happens? One if I send a message and my partner doesn't reply to me, I will have this feeling, oh, what has happened? Oh, is he interested in someone else, or is she interested in someone else? Or if my child is not replying to me, he has gone abroad to study, and if I don't get a text from him every morning, I will start thinking, has something bad happened to him? What happened? He's alone over there. What if he doesn't wake up? What if he misses his class? So this kind of feelings start cropping up immediately when we are anxious. Some people withdraw themselves emotionally. It happens that some people become very clingy because of anxiety, and some people just disappear emotionally to protect themselves. And again, we say, just because a person is silent doesn't mean that they are not feeling anything or they are not anxious. Silence is definitely not a sign of being calm or being healthy emotionally. Right? Then another form in which anxiety shows up is people pleasing. We are constantly trying to please the other person, uh, trying to keep their needs above ours, so as to, again, that fear of connection, that fear of loss of connection or rejection is playing in the at the back of our mind. This one is very interesting. people test their partners, or whichever relationship they are in, they test them emotionally. Okay, let me post an indirect status and let me see what the other person or how the other person replies. This happens a lot in friendships also. Sometimes the person might ignore messages intentionally. Let me see what happens to the other person. Let me see how they are, whether they really care if I don't message, whether they'll show up or not. So these are the things that these are the ways that anxiety shows up. Dating apps, they have created a culture of ghosting, breadcrumbing, inconsistent attention, emotional ambiguity. I'm sure you must have heard of these terms. And things like these, this can intensify anxiety even in emotionally healthy people. So if I'm having a relationship with a person, or if my friend ghosts me all of a sudden, of course it will put me in anxiety. So all these things have intensified this anxiety all the more. I would like to give you again an example from a recent interview that I was watching. Ananya Pandey, all of you must be knowing her. She confessed that she repeatedly dialed her partner's number 50 to 70 times when his partner was not answering her calls. So just imagine 50 to 70 times calling somebody. And she also admitted that she has a hard time giving people space in relationships. And she acknowledges also that this is not a good habit. So where is this coming from? We need to ask, where is maybe again a fear of losing connection or rejection, or I am not good enough. What if my partner finds someone better than me? And we see similar patterns in parent-child relationships also. And this commonly happens when during the teenage phase, when they start see, a teenager demands more autonomy and privacy. Akanksha, you want to say something?
No, ma'am. It just happened mistakenly. I'm so sorry,
No
friend.
worries, no worries. Okay. So as I was saying, this happens particularly during the teenage phase when they are going through a lot of changes and they demand more privacy. They require more autonomy. Uh, the parents, out of fear of disconnection with the child, oh, he's not telling me anymore what is happening in his life. Every day he used to come and share with me, especially the mothers. How was your day? How was your day? The child says one word and then just retreats back to his room. So this also can lead to anxiety cropping up in parents. This fear of disconnection with the growing child, and they may start being overprotective, hyper vigilant, not allowing him to go out. uh, so yes, I'm sure it is true and relatable to each one of us. And this is how what happens, this kind of anxiety, when it shows up in a parent's behavior also, that might lead the child to distance themselves from us all the more. And they may interpret this as intrusion in their privacy, and this cycle goes on and on and on, becoming helicopter parents, which we should really avoid. Yes. So this cycle goes on, which hampers our communication and relationship with the child. So you understand, this is not just about romantic relationship. It can this anxiety can show up anywhere. Anything that you want to share with me? I'm sorry. Till here, because this completes our theoretical understand of how anxiety shows up in relationships or in real life. Okay. All right. Great. Thank you. This note taker keeps on sending messages and I get confused whether it's you actually giving me a message or AI. See, I'm also getting anxious whenever I see a message from a note taker. So this is how. Okay. Now, since we have understood the theoretical part of anxiety, let us come to this concept, which is the most important part today. What happens whenever we are triggered? There is a situation that happens, like so many situations we discussed in the last slides. People not replying to our messages, my child is not connecting with me properly, my child is not replying to my messages, my friend is ghosting me, my partner is not emotionally available. So this is a situation which is the trigger. A situation triggers us. They didn't reply for 3 hours. Now, when a situation happens, when we are triggered by a certain situations, there is a certain story that I tell myself. Oh, he's not replying to me. Maybe I'm not good enough anymore. Oh, why will he reply to me now? I have done this. I have sent multiple messages. Okay. Uh, all of us do. All of us do. Parents not answering the calls. Yes, absolutely. So our aged parents not answering the calls. This is a very pertinent point. Absolutely. Thank you, Hina. We might tell a story to ourselves. What is happening? Why are they not replying? Why are they not answering? What if something has happened to them? And again, just some extreme reactions. Maybe they are losing interest. Maybe I'm not good enough anymore. Maybe I should have talked to that person in a certain way yesterday. Maybe I did that yesterday. That is why he's talking to me like this today. So there is a story that we tell ourselves, and that story leads to a response. And that response is absolutely based on a story that we tell ourselves and not the actual fact. So sending multiple follow text up, maybe we panic, maybe we start calling another people. Maybe we start calling the neighbors. Why is my parent not picking up the call? Maybe I start messaging my boyfriend's friends. What happened to him? Why is he not replying? Why is he not answering my call? So there are so many things. Even if I give you a workplace example, for example, my manager says that we need to talk tomorrow. What will happen immediately? I will think, maybe the work that I did not do complete yesterday, maybe he wants to, talk about it tomorrow, and he will just really, I am now in a soup, I'm in trouble. And this is the story I tell myself. And what is the response? I spoil my entire evening overthinking about what will happen tomorrow. Uh, Again, I will give you a lot of examples so that we understand, because there are some young people over here also. A lot of us see a friend story on Insta and we tend to think negative only. Yes, because it is our anxious brain that is forcing us to tell these stories. And this is our anxious brain which is trying to protect us. If I give some examples from today, from these modern times, again, we see a friend's story on Instagram and immediately feel resentment. Oh, she did not tell me that she would be going out today in the evening, so maybe she did not want to include me. So what my reaction would be? This is the story I tell myself, and what will be my reaction? I would be sending her angry messages, or maybe not speaking to her another day. Another examples might include we remain stuck in decision paralysis even for small things. Yes, that is overthinking. That is correct. We tend to get stuck in overthinking, and that leads to decision paralysis. That is also a very important term that we should understand in these times. I would like to continue with my examples a bit so that all of us understand, maybe these kind of triggers can include partner not calling at the decided time in a long distance relationship. A work friend did not take me along for a smoke break. I might compare my closeness with my best friend as against with their other friendships. My partner asks me, okay, I need some time alone. Oh, that is a completely red signal. Why is he asking for, alone time? Why is he asking for space? What happened? Why am I not good anymore? So these are the examples, these are the triggers that lead us to frame a story in my mind which definitely is not true, and might lead to responses like overthinking, decision paralysis, emotional shutdown, panic, passive aggression, and whatnot. I'm sure all of us must have felt this way. So our anxious brain again, oh, I'm so sorry. So our anxious brain quickly moves from fact to fear to reaction. Now, again, if you would like, okay, now here I need you to pick up your paper and pen. And this is the activity that you're going to do in real time. Please connect to the first activity that we did. Any thought that came to your mind, any uneasy conversation. Pratima, I can take your question in the last 10 minutes. If you don't mind, we will park this question. Okay, thank you. So this is an activity. Please go back to your thought that we did in the first in the first slide. Any situation, any trigger that might have disturbed you or made you feel anxious, please write that trigger. Please write the story, what you told yourself, and please write the response, what did you do? In the actual what you did. So we'll just give this thing 30 seconds. And I really encourage all of you to do this, because if we are attending this session and if we don't take back any kind of learning, then the entire purpose is not fulfilled. So I hope I've explained myself correctly. All right, we will give you 30 seconds to do that, and then we will again come back. I will give you another task. So 30 seconds. Okay. Now I want you to again write that trigger. Once more, write that trigger, please. And take a pause before framing a story in your mind. Please take a pause. And try to introspect that the story can be something else also. Maybe that person is busy. Maybe that person is stuck up somewhere. Maybe my friend, did not tell me because she was going out with her family. Please take a pause and write a different story, something closer to the fact, or something where I give a little space in my story for myself, to myself also, and to the other person also. You have to change your story here. Please change the story here. And now once you have changed your story, what is the response that you're going to take? What will be not your reaction, but your response? What will you do when you have changed your story? So I want you to answer whether this changed story changed your response or not. And please, we can take one or two responses. You can unmute yourselves and you can share. Tanisha, we would like to hear from you. Yes, Tanisha.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Ma'am, actually, my trigger was कि me and my friend were having a communication gap, due to which a lot of things has happened. And story which I told myself at starting was कि no, she's not interested and she's not having time just for me. She's doing everything with everyone, but she's not involved with me. And response I get was I confronted her and we ended up with a fight. But when we moved ahead and you said ki we have to think about another story, was later I got to know that she was having a different situation at her home and she was dealing with a lot of things. So yeah, my response at that time was ki even we were not talking from months, but when I got to know about her situations on the same particular day, I just texted her and the things became normal again.
Thank you so much, Tanisha, for sharing this. I think we should all give her some kind of encouragement for being honest and for sharing this and for giving us this insight. Thank you so much, Tanisha. So, see, just a pause, just a little pause can drastically change and modify our responses, which might lead to some kind of calmness for ourselves also and for the other person also. If you permit, I can move ahead. If anybody wants to share, they can also do that, because this is how we get a lot of insights from our audiences also. Okay. So once we do so this activity, we can do it in our day-to-day lives also. Now, again, these are things that are not learned immediately. You have to, because the moment a trigger happens, your brain gets into an autopilot mode. Your brain is wired, your brain has learned, okay, if this situation arises, this story that you have told yourself, your brain learns that, okay, this is the story, and this is how I will react. This is all happening out of fear. And the story, we have to change the story, and we have to teach our brains to think in a different manner, where we will be directing ourselves towards more calmness and towards better and healthy relationships. Please practice this, and this is one thing that you can really start from today itself, because there are innumerable situations that happen to us in everyday lives. If we just be a little conscious, if we just be a little aware of what is happening and what is the story that we are telling ourselves, we can change the entire plot of our life. So the trigger that I'm talking about, and the first activity that we did, the body, how the body responses. We should also understand and that before thoughts become words, the body already reacts. Because the nervous system cannot always distinguish between physical danger and emotional rejection. That is how a nervous system is. So we should understand that, just like you said, that it might result in a racing heartbeat, stomach heaviness, chest tightness, simply because my friend did not reply to me, or someone's tone changed while talking to me. We need to understand, and we need to become aware of how our body responds to anxiety, because if you know that this is how my body reacts, you are better equipped to respond, and you are better equipped to handle that anxiety. This starts with awareness. This starts with paying attention. So the first technique was that you take a pause. The second technique is that learn what your body is talking to you. Learn what your body is speaking to you when a situation arises, when you are triggered. The moment you understand that, okay, this is how I feel, this is how my body is reacting, I need to take a hold of myself, I need to control myself, I need to cope up with my emotions, and then react. This is the first step to handle your anxiety. This is the first step to cope up with your anxiety. As it is said that awareness of the body helps interrupt the emotional spiral early. It is written on the slide. Even today, many people are emotionally dysregulated because they are overstimulated digitally. They are emotionally exhausted. We are sleeping poorly. We are carrying unresolved stress. So we might not be consciously aware that, okay, if somebody asks me, are you fine, I say yes, I'm fine. There are people who say they are fine, and the next day we hear that about them is that they are not well, or they had a panic attack or something of that sort. Why does it happen? Because anxiety manifests in the body physically. So when you start understanding your body signals, in a conscious manner, consciously, you will be able to understand the anxiety in a better way. So this is the second technique that we can actually implement. Now, uh, again, anxiety comes up from feelings, and our feelings are real. But the truth is that feelings are not always facts. When here you have to change your story. For example, if someone is busy, our anxious brain might, think of it as rejection, interpret it as rejection. But it is not like that. So your feelings might not be wrong; they are not wrong, but the fact, it might not be the fact. It is not the truth. And the nervous system reacts to that disconnection the same way it reacts to danger. Before reacting, ask yourself that the story that I'm telling to myself, is this about the present moment, or is it something that is cropping up from my past experiences, from my emotional wounds, from something that I experienced in my earlier relationships? We are not here to undermine and say that what you are feeling is not right. But we need to understand that what I am feeling might not be true. This is, here the next slide will tell us that what we can do about it. So I may not always be able to find out whether my story is true or not. So for what do we do? How do we understand? How do we find out if our story is true or not? We should understand this again, how we can find out our story is true or not. We need to understand and explore other things. What is the real fear uh, under that situation that we are experiencing? For example, if they didn't reply, what can I do to find out why they didn't reply to me? And how does our brain interpret they didn't reply means I don't matter to them anymore? They are upset with me. What my brain might interpret, or if they are upset with me, I'll be abandoned. I am not good for them anymore, and they might leave me. Maybe I'm not enough. But see, this is not the truth. It is just that a lot of relationship anxiety is often connected to how we feel about ourselves. Do I value myself or not? It is not always about the other person's behavior. And this self worth is also connected deeply with our upbringing, how our caregivers were at that point of time, what have my past experiences taught me? Was I betrayed in my earlier relationship? Did my earlier partner, respond to my emotional needs? So there are a lot of things that can be the real reason for this fear which is coming up again and again. People post so many things online, who are constantly seeking validation online. We see a lot of young people posting things that are not even required. Why is it that? Maybe it is possible that they actually don't want attention. They are just seeking reassurance that they are valued. And also there is a lot of comparison on relationships. There are couple goals, there are engagement announcements, there are friendship groups, there are dating rules, I don't know what all. There are so many things that just adds on to this kind of anxiety, and all these things quietly increases that insecurity and uncertainty that we feel. Again, any questions or anything that you want to share here? All right. So please understand that we have to change what we are telling ourselves, what stories we are telling ourselves, and what is the real fear, what is the actual fear. The fear is not that they will not reply to me or they will not invite me to a party. The fear is something else, and we need to explore that fear. When anxiety, again, like we talked about how anxiety shows up in relationships. Thank you so much, Rita. The second or third slide that we talked about, how relationship shows up in anxiety. Of course, these are certain behaviors. Now, this is also a paradox, the behaviors. Why are we feeling anxious? Because we want to hold on to that relationship. We want to hold on to that person. We don't want to feel disconnected. We want to be physically close to that person. Now, when we are anxious, of course, we are responding in a certain way. We are also behaving in a certain way. And this is the painful paradox of anxiety, that it creates the exact distance we fear. What do we do out of anxiety? We overtext, we overcall, we cling, or maybe we withdraw ourselves emotionally. We become cold, we become defensive. Again, we test our partners or test our relationships, the examples that I gave you. And we avoid honest conversations. Now, what happens? All these behaviors, if we show all these, if anxiety comes up in these behaviors, of course, it will start pushing people away. If we keep ourselves, if we perceive ourselves as the person who is facing these behaviors, of course, I'll start pushing away from that person. So let us just talk about a few examples. In long distance relationships, for example, people often see, again, the physical proximity is absent in these kind of relationships. So in order to compensate for uncertainty, what we do, we get into the pattern of excessively checking on our partner or reassurance seeking. Do you miss me? Do you remember me? Oh, you're going for dinner tonight. So will you miss me? Now, what is this? This is again just seeking validation and just trying to test the other person whether they'll remember me or not, since I'm not close enough physically. Now, for example, if we take an anxious parent, so they can get into over monitoring. They might be having difficulty giving children independence. They will get into excessive worrying. So, see, behind every unhealthy behavior is actually a very healthy emotional need. So, our behaviors might show up as unhealthy because these are not healthy behaviors that we might show up. But we need to understand that the need which is inside, the need which is beneath these fears is actually healthy. We just need reassurance from our partners, or again from the relationships that we are talking about. We need closeness, we need honesty. Your feelings are not wrong, your behaviors are a little unhealthy, people who are showing anxiety in relationship, all right, but the need is very healthy, the need is very simple. These are all human needs, right? I will come on to the comments a little later. So when we say you never care, the deeper truth may be that I just need reassurance. I need closeness. I need you to tell me where you are. I need honesty. Now, these are some very important traits of a relationship. These are some very important qualities of a relationship on which healthy relationships are based. And every normal person who is in I will not say a normal person, every person who is in a relationship expects these kind of mutual love and understanding from the other person. So, this again, we can try to be aware of our anxious behaviors that we might show up in a relationship. We need to understand that these kind of behaviors will actually push people away, but we need to be what do you say, we need to be हमें ये समझना चाहिए that the fear, the actual thing that is under that fear is our emotional need that we want from the other person. So anxiety is not incorrect. The behavior that is going there is not correct. So this is also a technique that you can check. Even if I'm anxious, I can just take a pause, be aware of my body signals, and choose to respond in a different manner and not adopt these behaviors. For example, over texting or over calling, really it can turn into a nuisance, which can just the other person will run away. Even a child, even a teenager, he will run away. He will not, if I'm over monitoring my child, he will not be confident of me and he will not open up in front of me. I need to give him his privacy. I need to give him his liberty, his freedom, even if I'm anxious. I need to communicate in different ways to him or to my partner. Tanisha, you have a question? Can we ask? Can we address that later? Okay. All right. So, see, the game changer is pausing and reflecting. Okay, the story that you are sharing with yourself, you just need to pause and reflect, because the brain learns through repetition. If you are every time, if you are reacting anxiously immediately, see, there's a difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is instantly showing up a behavior. Responding is taking some time to think and then communicating whatever you need to. So whenever you are behaving anxiously, immediately reacting, the brain believes, okay, yes, this situation was dangerous and this is how I need to address this situation in the future also. Pause, breathe, sit with the feeling before reacting. This is although it may sound easy, it is a little tough because we need to practice it, and we need to be, first of all, we really need to be aware of the stories and the body signals. So the goal of, talking about all this anxiety, talking about behavior, how it shows up, why it happens, the goal is not to suppress your emotions. The goal is not to suppress your worries. The goal is to just create a pause between your feeling and reaction. Uh, all, whatever, I am not sure if you have attended our previous webinars, but pausing, this is one technique that is very simple when we talk about it, yet difficult, but extremely practical and something which give results. And micro tools can be, for example, if you're texting, just think for a while whether you should text like this or not. There are instances when I also do the same thing, when I also react instantly, and I also send messages that might really not sound appropriate, or which might show my anger in a very aggressive way. So maybe I can pause. I am learning how to pause. We can regulate our breathing. We can be aware of our body signals. We can delay our emotional conclusions, whatever we are concluding. We can check facts. We can communicate directly. So instead of sending 8 anxious messages, I can just say, I will come to the comments. Just give me 2 more minutes. I will come to the comments. So, instead of sending 8 anxious messages, I can just take a pause and I can just ask myself, okay, what am I feeling right now and why? What is happening to me? This is a great technique that all of us can implement and start practicing. Here I can take, because the next slide is we are coming to the concluding slides. So here I will just stop screen sharing for a while and I will take on the comments first of all. Akanksha, is there something that you want to add?
No, ma'am. Everything is covered beautifully by you.
Thank you so much. All right. Okay, great. Some comments I would like to read here. Posting on social media to get attention, is it also a validation seeking or reassurance seeking or normal behavior? So I am not I won't say that I'm an expert on social media, or I am a really good critique of why people post on social media, but there are some things which can be kept private and which can be uh, limited to your and your partner and to your home. And there are people who overshare, and there are people who post things that are not needed. I want to ask you that if we post something and if we do not get a like, or if we do not get a view of it, if we do not get certain number of views, do we get disappointed or not? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes, we do. That is also natural. We do. But if it becomes a pattern, I might post some of it because I feel like posting, and I know that, my friends will like it. There is some kind of insight I'm giving, or I'm just posting because I'm happy and I want to share it with the world. But there are also certain things that do not require any posting. And if it becomes a pattern, every time I'm checking my phone, okay, how many likes I have got, how many comments I have got, I feel excited and happy because I have got, okay, 100 likes, my day is now made. मेरा दिन बन गया आज, 100 likes मिल गए मुझे. Oh, so many people have written I'm looking so beautiful. Now I know that I'm looking beautiful. If my child is saying, or if my mother is saying you are looking very beautiful today, ये तो बोलती रहती हैं. When I will get 100 comments from strangers and unknown people that, oh, you're looking so beautiful, that is when I will start liking myself. Then what is that? That is validation. That is the reassurance seeking. If that becomes a pattern, yes, that is not a healthy behavior. I wouldn't say normal or abnormal. That is not a healthy behavior. So I hope I've answered your question. Now the second is, but by pausing, if we are not venting it out, won't it remain stuck in our subconscious and trouble us later on? So, Abhi, okay. See, that pause is for 2 seconds. You don't need to pause for an hour or for 2 hours. That pause is just for 2 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, where you can just reconnect yourself. Whatever emotion you are feeling, whether it is anger, whether it is jealousy, whether it is, whatever, whether it is extreme sadness, extreme disappointment, by pausing and by reflecting, okay, what am I feeling right now? My child did not tell me that he had a rough day at school, and in the evening I was talking to one of my child's friend's mother, who told me that something happened at school today. And I can have a lot of mixed emotions at that time. I might feel extremely disappointed that my child did not share this with me. I might feel extremely angry that, oh, such a big thing happened and he did not share it with me. My instant reaction would be, Acha, please keep down the phone and I will call you later. Okay. I will immediately call my child and I will blast him, or I will say some very emotional things and I will emotionally blackmail him. And okay, there goes my relationship. So by pausing, we just take a 5 minutes, 5 second break. We just tell ourselves, what are we feeling right now? Is there something else? Is there something some other way we can respond? And okay, that will also allow you to vent, but in a very healthy manner. Okay, so these were the two questions that I addressed. Is there anything that, are there any more questions? Seba. Yes, please.
Hi. Thank you so much for the wonderful session and the perspective that you've given here. Ma'am, I work with an online upskilling academy, and I'm going to just shift the perspective slightly to from the personal to the professional, but I strongly believe that both of them are connected. So what we are on the personal front, it does make a lot of difference how we conduct ourselves on the professional front. We can't just switch on and off.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So my question to you is that are there any emotional triggers that one can identify initially? When I also happen to work with a lot of young kids in their 14s and 15s. Um, and certain emotional triggers that sort of a continuum of behavior that travels with them as they approach adulthood, and it still stays there and impacts their working culture or behavior. As probably, as I said, that I'm working with an upskilling academy, upskilling, which is running upskilling courses. um, we see a lot of digital withdrawal and ghosting, the terms that you've also used here, when there are pressures, when because we also understand that they are managing their lives on another front, and they're also wanting to upskill themselves and probably come back to their professions, or they want to try something new. But what happens is when reality comes in, when things become pressurizing, you have a submission here, or you have to make a presentation, and you also have something happening in your own life. Um, it becomes really tricky for us as an institute to manage some of them, and we see withdrawals, and we see complete abandonment from the course. We do have a lot of communications that we formally and informally, I mean semi-formally, not informally, share with them and try and stay connected. But we also have to be mindful of not over connecting, as you said, lots of messages, or so many calls and so on. But as per your understanding, experience, what do you think could be used as mindful communications? And it's all going to be text based, or through video calling, that can help these learners feel secure enough to re-engage, come back. Usually they're talking about the gaps that they have encountered while they were away. So that's my question, ma'am. So how can we regulate that with them? in a
Uh,
professional setting.
Zeba, again, if we are talking about this newer generation, as we call Gen Z, and all these terms that have come up, I understand that there is a lot of things that are going on in their minds, and also there are a lot of options available for them. For example, ghosting and all
Ma'am,
of
I'd like to just add on here that these are
that.
not only young learners. We have a lot of adult learners with us. People who've taken a gap in their learning journey, in their professions, like moms, housewives who are wanting to come back, um, people who have taken early retirements and now they're wanting to come back into the industry. And these are creative courses, these are design-based courses which require a lot of thinking, creating, and so on.
Okay.
So that's what, yeah, we are
All right.
referring to.
Can we do one thing, if you permit? Can you and Gift team stay after this session for just 2 more minutes? Okay, and we can discuss this later on, if that's okay.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, because I think this might take a little bit more time. This discussion might take a little bit more time, so I don't want other people to just hang on. And
Sure, ma'am. Sure.
it's Saturday, so I'm sure people might be having their own commitments. Okay. So any other question that you would want me to address? Pratima. Yes, Pratima, ma'am. Ma'am, can you please unmute yourself?
Hi, Rabia. It was a wonderful session indeed. And I would like you to talk something about decision paralysis. What is meant? What do you mean by
So,
that in this situation, especially?
see, ma'am, decision paralysis is anything that just freezes us whenever we are in a certain situation. And because we lack certain skills, primarily decision making skills, because the mind is acting in certain ways. We might be under extreme stress. We might have faced a situation which is extremely new, which is extremely, threatening, and or maybe even non-threatening, there but because we might overthink about that situation a lot, we have a lot of options available. So there are a lot of things that contribute to decision paralysis, where we are unable to take any decision, any concrete decision. So we might know how to solve that problem, but we might only stop there and not take the decision, even when I know that, okay, I have weighed all the pros and cons. I know this is right and this is not right. This is where practically I should go. So I have weighed everything. I have done that entire problem solving process. So I have solved that problem. But I will just freeze myself there, and I will not be able to take that decision. I will not be able to move ahead with one decision. This is decision paralysis. There are a lot of underlying factors for this, and it can be taken up as the next session as well, for
Yes,
sure.
exactly. I wanted you to take up this topic because it is more because of some parenting issues in the childhood, maybe.
Yeah.
Uh,
We
so
can take
that
up
is,
this for sure.
yes, I would love
Yes.
to attend that. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Point well taken. Thank you. Thank you so much. Uh, After identifying, okay, so Hina, we would be hopefully we might come up with this session. Akanksha, can we note it down on decision paralysis?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So after identifying emotional wounds and ritual patterns, any behavioral addiction, example, reel, phone, porn, and working on your wounds, the same behaviors are still repeated out. It's like you have mentioned the nervous system doesn't understand words, it simply stores and rehearses emotions, feelings. So working on such addictions is a lifelong process or a time period process. Definitely, it needs a lot of commitment, a lot of dedication, a lot of control on ourselves, because this phone addiction and reel addiction is something that all of us experience on an everyday basis. Even I do even i do and I will not say that, oh yes, there are some days that I keep my phone in the other room when my productive hours, when my work hours start, and there are some days when I just waste my 1 hour and I am not even able to, I realize it later on. So yes, it needs a lot of commitment, a lot of dedication, a lot of control on ourselves. And I see it can be a lifelong process, but I mean, it can, if we give ourselves a certain amount of time every day. Okay, this is the period where I will not touch my phone. Any change happens with baby steps. You cannot say from today I will not check reels at all. This is something impossible. We have to take baby steps for every change that we are planning to implement in our lives. So, be if you are the first step is being self-aware. So, if you are self-aware that you are addicted to reels or addicted to porn or addicted to phone, that is the best thing that you can do to yourself. There are some people who are not even aware of that. So, if you are aware of that, wonderful. The next steps will follow. If you are truly committed, give yourself small breaks. We can see these all things are interrelated, and these things can form, you are giving us a lot of food for thought, and you're giving us a lot of topics for subsequent sessions. We can definitely incorporate all these things. It is your choice whether you want to make it a lifelong process or a time period process. If I commit myself, and if I say, okay, for the next 2 hours I'm not going to touch my phone, I should be able to do that. I will start with, okay, for 5 minutes, I will not touch my phone. I should be able to do that. Do something that is achievable and realistic. Set smart goals for yourself. Now, what are smart goals? We can do it in another session. So this,
Yeah, actually, you're right. It's like smart goal. One of my smart goals was to attend your session today, despite being a weekend. And I set the alarm. Honestly speaking, I set the alarm to attend this session. And then, whereas I have switched off all the notifications which could be disturbing and distracting in the meantime. So this isn't that a smart goal?
absolutely, it is, ma'am. It is smart goal. It is achievable. It is realistic. It is measurable. Everything. It
Everything
is a
in a
smart goal.
package. In a package.
Uh,
Yeah.
Yes. So, Abhi, I just want to come back to your question, and I would like to say that any kind of improvement, learning is a lifelong process. We never stop learning, and the more we are self-aware of ourselves, the better improvement we can make in our lives. So, if we are on this path of improving ourselves, let it be a life learning process. But certain things that hamper our work on an immediate and daily basis, we need to make it a time period process. Right. Any suggestions on how to? Okay, this we have done. Akanksha, I think we can. It's already 12:13. We can just, if everybody. Oh, we need to be here with Zeba, but after
Yes.
everyone leaves.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you everyone for being such a wonderful audience today, and special thanks to Miss Rabia Ma'am for such an beautifully explained, insightful, and engaging session. I'm sure that all of us are leaving with something meaningful to reflect upon and apply in our own lives and relationships. So, on behalf of Global Emotional Agility Network, I thank you all once again for joining us today. We hope this session gave you a better understanding of how relationship anxiety and emotional awareness in a way that feels practical and relatable. So, definitely we'll come up with another episode super soon, and we have noted down the pointers, whatever you have said. So, we'll be actually coming up with another episode. Till then, take care, everyone. Have a really great day ahead. Happy weekend, and definitely looking forward for your valuable feedback as well. We'll be sending you an email with the feedback. Do fill that the same. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for being so interactive, for being so participative. I really appreciate, and all of your insights made this session really successful. Thank you so much. So, if other people can leave, since we have ended the session, we would be here with Zeba. We would like to discuss certain things with her concerns. All right. So, Zeba, yes, as we were talking about, thank you so much, ma'am.
Now, I'd like to thank you first for staying back. I think I'd asked a little different or out of context question. Is it?
No, no, no. It's just that no, nothing is out of context. See, if these kind of workshops elicit that kind of thought and ideas, and of course, certain kind of questions that you have, and you're seeking answers for that, why not? I mean, these are meant for that. So
Thank you.
absolutely not a problem. It's just that I didn't want other people to wait. It's already 12:15, so this might have taken maybe a little longer. That is why. What I understand correctly from your question is that you are asking how can you, as an academy, make your communication stronger and more comprehensive, so as to make them understand what are they getting into. And
Yes,
of
that's my first question, ma'am. And if you have time, there'd be another question, but only if you have time. But yes, if you answer this one,
and take it, not an issue.
thank you.
How can we make the communication stronger? I'm sure you must be having all your pre admission agreements wherein they are agreeing to whatever the course requires and all these
Yes,
requirements.
yes,
Can we go?
yes,
See,
yes.
Ziba, I feel also that when you are dealing with an adult audience, there is only as much that you can do. They are coming, they are joining out of their choice. It is not a compulsion. So they might be having certain kind of incentives in their heads. They might be having certain kind of objectives for which they are joining.
Yeah.
So over texting or over calling, even if we resort to that, even if, for example, even if you are sending 2 messages in a day or 3 messages in a day, or emailing, if people they are of see, there can be a lot of circumstances in an adult life which can not allow them to attend the sessions or do the work as required. But since it is your requirement, your course requirement,
Mm-hmm.
that has to also be taken seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Sending messages, sending emails, or maybe you can also have some in between sessions, one or two sessions which are not about your course, this thing, but certain sessions that might uh, talk on certain things which include topics like commitment and ownership and accountability. These are certain things that a lot of us miss on. So we may start something with a lot of enthusiasm and zest, but along the way, uh, a lot of reasons can pause us or stop that enthusiasm, and there's nothing that we can do. See, it happens with me also. I have also enrolled myself in some courses or in some community sessions. Uh, I started with a very good intention, but it is not always possible for me to attend the sessions. There are hundreds of things that might come in my way. But if it is like this is a structured organization and it follows certain rules and regulations, so you might think of adding some. Uh, I will not. They are called soft skills, but something, some voluntary sessions, a very quick, short snippets of how commitment and how accountability and how ownership will help them not just in this course but also in their later lives. So for example, if I am not being able to commit myself to one simple course, how will I be able to reap its benefits in my career for which I have joined this course? Because it is when we are talking about technical things, again, we are talking about human beings, so just technical proficiency is not enough. If these are situations, if these are concerns that we are facing as an organization, and that is hampering your working in any way, so some very, and it can have a lot of, it can be done in a very indirect and a very non-threatening manner, where you send small videos, where you send small mini series, mini sessions you can do with these students, so that you can think of doing that. Because of course, from your side, again, dealing with an adult audience, we can do only as much. Where there might be 50 people who registered for this webinar, but only 30 showed up, even after sending constant reminders and sending the invite every day. But this happens.
That's true, ma'am. That's true. And fortunately, the academy that I work for has been extremely mindful of all of these steps that we must take. So much so that they have planned everything by the minute and has already given it to the learners in advance. And we do have these nudges that we keep doing and initiating with our learners at various points, and specifically on times when we know that there are going to be stresses, there are going to be pressures of submissions, and module is going to be ending, and they would probably face this difficulty in juggling up with their own things. And um, specifically, if I could take another 2 minutes of yours, specifically where these triggering moments have arisen, or very recently it had happened, is a sort of a blame game that started to happen. So let's say we have 5 classes in a week, or we have 4 classes in a week, and in those 4 classes, if just one of the class didn't go well, and it could be for various reasons. Um, the learners have somehow taken that as the reason of their non-performance. It's one, and very surprisingly, it is one of the optional classes that they could have easily missed and not been there. And they could have really done well in the other classes. But just because of one of this class, which just didn't do well, and that was due to their understanding and their connect with the technical aspect of the course, they found that as the baseline of their non-performance. We tried discussing issues with them. It became a little huge, because from one to another it started influencing. Now the trick here is that we are completely online. We don't have any physical connect. And I remember that you laid quite a lot of emphasis on how this physical connect is so important for us. But after all, it's their choice that they have made. They could have gone to any other school or college, but they chose it because for now in their lives, this is the only way that they can learn something while they're continuing to do other things that they are pursuing in their lives. Um, but at times, I don't know why it happens. I mean, I've been a learner while I was a working person myself, and I have also realized that when I enter a classroom, there is no difference between me and any other, learner who may be in a different scenario. I do start acting like that. I do start finding excuses, but then I have to bring myself back and say that this is, you pause and reflect, as you said, that your reason for being here was different. Um, so that actually became a trigger. And then usually the ones that I was referring to or I was connecting to were these moms that had taken a break from work. Their kids have reached a certain age where they can have some time away from them and utilize it for upskilling themselves. But I don't think they've seriously realized what it demands for. No matter how clearly we can mention it in the beginning, that you need to have about 6 hours of study, connected study with your mentor, you still probably do not realize the grievance or the reality or the practicality of it when you're on the course, and you sort of just ignore it. Um, and then it impacts your performance. And then you become worried and anxious, and the only thing that you can do is withdraw. I mean, I can't do this. This wasn't for me. Whereas, I mean, I feel that anyone can do it. I mean, we have designed it in such a way.
See, there's also a difference between your perspective and theirs.
Surely. Yes. Yes.
So again, maybe they might be having some very different stories and reasons to say. And
Hmm.
this is a reality, and we are dealing with an adult education, adult educators, this is learners, and Also, the setting, the online setting, makes a lot of difference. See, anyway, in online setting, my accountability reduces to a large extent as a learner. When I'm going to a physical classroom, there are teachers who will check my work, who will check my assignment, who will be grading me based on that. So I understand the seriousness and the responsibility that comes along with it. Now, with any online course and with any online, upskilling courses, um, these things are bound to happen. These things are bound to happen. Uh, as an organization, I think all these kind of triggers might be really upsetting, and because the organization is doing its best to provide and to do whatever they can for the learners. But see, again, we have to somewhere understand the reality also, that if this is a one-off instance, that it started into a blame game because there was a technical difficulty, and the learners took it as an excuse for their underperformance. If it is a one-off thing, it's fine. I mean, it's okay. To combat it, or to like, if you're being more to be more cautious, you can always let them know beforehand that there can be certain technical, and I'm sure you must be doing that. It is not, these are like very normal things that you must be doing. Again, see, I don't have very concrete answers for this, because this is a tricky situation, a different setting. uh, if the You can only work from your side. If there is a trigger, maybe you can deal it with in a very tactful manner, so as to not provoke the learners, because again, it is an online setting. See,
If
the
I, yeah,
learner,
hmm,
if I give my perspective, the online learner always feels, okay, I have given 50,000, 20,000, 30,000 to this organization.
mhm.
Now it is their complete responsibility to provide me everything, to every curriculum, every video, because they promised me initially that they would be doing that. So this, I am talking from the perspective of an online learner, because I have also been an online learner.
Sure.
So this is the kind of mindset that they come to you with.
Yes, yes.
If any,
Taken. Yeah.
they are not even considerate if there is a technical glitch, if
Mm,
there is something that goes wrong,
mm,
uh, they are not even ready to accommodate that, because
yeah.
they are taking out their 1 hour or 2 hours from their busy schedules.
Well,
They,
that's quite yeah, that's quite valuable as an insight that you have given me. But then, as I told you before, this was an optional session. It wasn't. It was not, even if they were not attending, it wasn't affecting their performance. It wasn't affecting their attendance. They
I
could have
understand.
easily missed it. I mean, if it wasn't really, but the the well, it'll become very case specific, ma'am, and I know your time is very important. Um, I'd like to, however, change this scenario and bring it down to a slightly younger learner who's probably in his or her 14 or 15, and the same situation arises. We cannot detach a school going learner from the life happenings that are there. There are all types of learners. They come from all types of backgrounds, but the pressures, the study pressures, and everything are similar for them as well. Um, have you ever felt that if there were these triggers, or these issues or concerns that were identified at that stage and they were worked upon, it would have made them a little more agile and
Definitely,
probably manageable
definitely.
at a later stage in their lives? And it could be in relationships, as you said, in professional settings, and in advanced studies, higher studies, and so on.
Absolutely. See, that is why this is my experience. I have done a lot of sessions with adolescents, with school going students, with
Yeah.
college going students. And when we do these sessions with them, self awareness and emotional intelligence, basically, there is a drastic difference that we see within. After 2 3 sessions, I've seen a drastic difference in those children. So there might be a lot of issues, a lot of problems that they come with, a lot of traumas. But yes, once they are trained, once they learn those skills, there is
Mhm.
a huge difference that
Mhm.
they also notice, visible difference. So absolutely, that is there. If they
Ma'am,
are
if I could just find out these details of the sessions that you have done with them, that will be really helpful for me in my study.
Zeba, what we can do, I can connect with you, or maybe
Okay.
Akanksha can connect with you,
Yeah.
and we can understand what concerns you have specifically, and we can
I
try.
was referring to the sessions that you've had with the adolescents that had made a significant difference in their either school life or in their
Yeah,
lives at
yeah,
larger
I can
stage.
share that also. Akanksha can also share that. I
Lovely.
can let her know. Yeah, so you have, maybe you have Akanksha's number or my number. We can do that. And we can also cover all these things in our master class. We would be doing master classes.
Mhm.
And because, see, now these are very introductory sessions, 1 hour.
Yeah.
And I know there are a lot of things that that are of concern. So
Mhm.
we can take all of these things in masterclass, and you can connect with me or with Akanksha.
Sure.
Then let's take it further, however we can.
All right, ma'am. That'll be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Take
Thanks.
care.
Thanks, Akansha.
Okay.
Take care.
Have a
Bye.
good day. Bye bye.
Bye.
Wow, such a wonderful session. Both of them, they are my parents. So,
I figured that.
I'm like कि हाँ मैं भूल सकती हूँ. Okay.
अरे हाँ, नहीं,
Such a
बिल्कुल.
wonderful session. Oh my God. बहुत अच्छा.
Thank
I'll
you
just
so much.
my
Auntie,
recording
thank
बंद
you
कर.
so much, uncle.
Just recording now. Done. Stop recording.